Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Moments with Miss Amy. I know if you saw my thumbnail, you saw that look and you were like, what is going on? Because you know what? That's exactly the look I wanted. Was like, are you kidding me? I gotta tell y'all something. Now, I was back and forth trying to figure out sharing this or not sharing this. And I'm like, I'm gonna share this. I am. I've already talked to my counselor about it. I'm working on my anger. And, I know that holding on to anger is not a good thing. And so I know I need to let it go. But I'm still holding on to a little bit of it, which I also know is toxic and not good for me. But I just thought, if I can get myself just to kind of process through this and realize, maybe look at this from a different direction, then maybe that'll help me to release the last little bit of anger. So that's what I'm doing today, y'all. Y'all get to be my therapists out there, okay? So I've already worked with my personal counselor. Now I'm working with y'all. So you ready? Sit back, relax, listen to this story, and see if you don't join me on feeling just a little bit on the frustrated side. But also see if maybe that we can take it and tone it down a little bit, that I can tone it down a little bit, that I can release some of the anger and frustration that I had built up. All right, ready? So, once upon a time, last year, I helped a family member out. They went and stayed and visited another family member, and they stayed for a week. They had, I believe, probably a pretty incredible time for the most part. We really didn't have much contact, so I really didn't know how much. But I'm the driver in the family, so I love to drive. I can take people, drop them off, pick them up. It's kind of what I do. I mean, y'all know I do Uber and Lyft, right? So, anyway, so I pick up my family member. We haven't really had much of any communication. And as we're, kind of getting things loaded up and stuff like that, I just, it's later in the evening because, I do late nights. I mean, I drive, sometimes overnights. So I'm perfectly good with that. And so, I didn't get to see the other family members, but I did see this one. And so as we're loading things up, just quietly talking, I said, so how's everything going? How was your visit? How's the family? What's happening, And she said to me, she goes, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Well, I thought, for one, maybe we were just being quieter. I don't know. And then the other thing I thought was, tomorrow? Does she think I'm spending the night at her house tonight? That wasn't the plan. So, but I just kind of let that go. Well, we get in the car. Mind you, we're both in the car. We're in the front seat. We got the windows up because we're driving on the highway. Wind's coming at us pretty good. No masks on, of course. We're family. We're just hanging out together, right? I'm just giving her a ride home. Nothing to be concerned about. We're just talking away. And we're, I don't know, probably half an hour, 45 minutes into the ride, maybe a little bit longer. And I just go ahead and I start again with asking, hey, so how was your time? Did you have a good time? Was Christmas great? How's everything going? And how's everybody back there with the family? Well, that's when she shared with me that the family was upset with her that she didn't get a COVID test done. Well, different people have different opinions about what we should be doing with COVID. There's so much confusion, so much mixed up news out there that oftentimes it's not surprising that one person thinks this and another person thinks that, or one believes this and another believes that. But I'm one who fully believes that no matter what your opinion is and what your feelings are, that we should get along. So, that being said, I guess sometimes I'm not exactly like that. Because here's what happened. So I asked, well, why did they want you to get a test? Well, they had been exposed right at Christmas time. You've been exposed and you didn't get a test. And you're in my car with the windows up. Okay. But, you've not had any symptoms and, knowing that, because the first thing that she said was, I've had all my shots and my booster. Okay, so all the shots and the booster, no symptoms, and it has been since Christmas. So it's been a matter of a few days. Okay, not thrilled that I wasn't aware of this before getting into my car. But at the same time, okay, all right, because, the new things that are out, if you get online and you look to see, it's just a 5-day now, quarantine. So we're pretty close to that range there, you know. So, okay, maybe everything's all right. And so I continue the drive, and we stop, we get her something to eat, and then, you know, we continue the rest of the drive, and I get her dropped off, and I get her settled at home. Well, I happen to have the other family members' cell phone numbers as well. So I just went ahead and texted them and said, hey, got her dropped off, everything's good, all things are set. Heard you had a little COVID scare, let me know if anybody pops positive. Just friendly, positive, you know. I get this text back, like, bam, all of this. Whoa, hey, what? So, in the conversation in the car on the way, she had relayed to me that 2 of the people had gone ahead and gotten tests, but their tests were negative. So, sorry, I forgot to add that back in there, so let's just put that in there, okay? So now this conversation here that I have on text at, you know, the middle of the night, I'm getting bombarded with this huge text, and I'm like, huh? And they're like, yeah, we were so upset. We couldn't believe that she didn't even warn you and that she just got in the car and took off with you. And we said, you really need to get a test done because everybody in the home is symptomatic. I said, you say what? So I called them. I'm like, we're not going to stand like and just do texting now. We're going to call because I'm like, excuse me? I am now like fully subjected to the possibility of having COVID again. Because yes, I have had it before. Actually, it was a year ago that we know that I had it in February last year. That's when I created this YouTube channel. So, but anyways, enough about that. So let's go back to this conversation. So I said, excuse me, you say, huh? And so then they explained to me that, well, yeah, they had gotten their test done, but it had been too soon after exposure. So they needed to wait for a little bit. So they did. But when they did, because of so many people getting tested all at the same time, and they went someplace to get tested, they didn't have the little box kit where you can just do it yourself. They went and got tested. It was going to be a minute before they got the results back. So they still didn't have the results back when she decided to come home. Now, mind you, everyone in the home was hanging out there. They'd all been exposed by the first person. Those things happen. Come on, guys. I mean, this is going to be the thing. COVID's hanging around, at least for right now. We're all praying that it goes away soon. But right now, COVID's here, and it's hanging on, and it's hanging around. And we just need to be wise. And things happen. You might not be feeling 100% great, but you're not sure. Is it my allergies? You know, could it just be a cold or the flu that's out there as well? You know, no big deal. And if you're really not feeling bad and you're not fevering, then why not get together with other people? Because for goodness sake, it can't be something that we're always hiding behind a mask and that we never do anything, right? We don't want this world to become where we only see each other through the screen, all right? So it is okay. Those things happen and people do get exposed. But the right thing to do is to follow protocol. So if you are exposed to someone who definitely has it, then maybe hold back a little bit, not get out there around a bunch of people, and let other people know. So I felt like I was advised when she said she'd been around someone and she'd been exposed, but it had been a number of days. 2 other people tested and they were negative. So all was good, right? Everything's okay. Had I not done any further research, finding out that more people were sick, and that's the thing, the household got sick, okay? 2 people in the household did not exhibit symptoms. Now, the one person was the family member that I brought home. Not to my house, to her house, but that family member. And then one other family member did not show symptoms, but everyone else did. Symptoms like coughing, congestion, headaches, vomiting, diarrhea, you know what I mean? Like the whole shebang, okay? The whole shebang. Now, the first thing that I am told with everyone is, listen, when we did this party, we thought we were okay. Everyone had gotten the vaccination. Okay. So they thought they were okay. And the person who came, I'm guessing that they didn't realize they were sick. That, you know how sometimes you might feel just a smidge off, but by nighttime you're like, oh, okay, I think I'm dying. Okay? I'm guessing that's where she was at. So you know what? It's nothing that we can blame her for. And that's okay. Those things happen, right? I mean, let me tell you what. We have passed the flu around our house before. Yeah, for sure. Okay? So those things happen. They just do. You don't have to shut yourself in and not see anybody. But once you know you've been exposed to someone with COVID and people start popping with symptoms, stay home. Like for real. Like stay home. Quarantine. And quarantining does not mean I'll just stay here with you for a few days and then I'll go out, do my own thing for a few days, and then at the end of that, I'll be done quarantining. It doesn't work like that, y'all. Quarantining means staying within, okay? So this family, they did the right thing. They stayed in. Now, personally, I have to tell you, any house to quarantine in would be that house, all right? Because I'm going to tell you what, those family members, they are like so much fun. I am sure they were eating really good. And I don't just mean like healthy. I'm talking like really good, okay? Like I ate some food prepared by them, and let me tell you what, like they can top restaurants, all right? Just saying. And games and fun, and they have a beautiful home, and it's so comfortable and so welcoming. Like seriously, sign me up to quarantine there. But for some reason, my family member chose to leave. And chose not to get a test before leaving. So that meant, since they've been with someone who's been sick, they could be contagious. I could get this from them. Now here's the deal. Because the whole household got sick, I would imagine that it wasn't like day 1 exposure, day 3, everyone is sick. Chances are, day 1 exposure, day 3, some people are sick. Day 5, some more people get sick. Day 7, more people get sick. Because we don't all automatically get it like within those few seconds, like, bam, there's a 5-minute window. If you get it now, you got it. You won't get it from the other people. It doesn't work like that. So the thing is, quarantining would be from the last person who got sick, their 5 days. Okay, so it's not from the first person that you were exposed to. For me, the fact that I had absolutely no choice in the matter, okay? I could have double masked, had her double mask, put her in the back seat, me in the front seat, had the windows cracked down. Like there's all these things we could have done to limit the chances of my exposure. But I wasn't aware of it. I was completely put into a situation that I had absolutely no control. Now, I spoke to her about it. We asked about taking the test. Wasn't anything that she was really too concerned about doing. Mind you, she did end up trying to go get a test a few days later. And the line was really long, so she didn't. Then the next day, she went ahead and ordered one, which I don't know if anybody else has been trying to get one, but you have to catch it just right in that little window. Otherwise, there's no tests available. But she did order one. And actually, yesterday, did contact me and ask if I could come help administer the test, which I explained to her that at this point, it's been 14 days, 14 days since she came home, even. Not just 14 days from any of the exposures. So at this point, there really is no reason to take the test, and she's better off to hold on to it and take it the next time that she has something happen where she's been exposed. And that's the hard thing. When you get exposed, you really kind of have to wait a couple of days, because that first day, I don't believe that it pops. I mean, I think that's what happened with the other family members, is that they took it, like they said, too soon. So then they went back and did another one later on. So this all being said, I've got a few things. I drive Uber and Lyft. That means if I know that I have been exposed, I can't work. My mom is living in a special home, as you all know, for Alzheimer's. So that means if I know that I've been exposed, I can't go see her. So the first thing I did, since I'd not seen my husband yet, was I went ahead and I contacted him and I said, hey, here's what's going on. This is what happened. I'm going to stay out, sleeping in my car. I just napped in a parking lot. But I said, I'm going to stay out until after you're up and around. And if you wouldn't mind, go see my mom. Because at this point, I don't know when I'll get to go and see her again. I mean, obviously I would be able to, but first I have to wait to see if I test positive. If I test positive, then I have to wait, for me, I wait 2 weeks. I'm still going with that one. That's just my own personal belief to make sure that I can feel confident that I'm not exposing her or anybody in her facility. But anyway, so he did that. He took off, went to see her. I came home. And then talking back and forth, we both made the decision that he was going to come home to me. It was New Year's Eve weekend. We were supposed to see our kids. We had hotel rooms booked. We had all these plans set up. And because of the circumstances, we had to cancel everything. And so he said he wasn't about to leave me at home alone for New Year's. And so he chose to come home. So we waited. We gave it a few days because we didn't want to take a chance of taking a test and it being negative but not being accurate. So we went ahead and waited. I had a test under the sink, and so I just pulled it out, tested myself. My test came up negative. So I went ahead and, let the family know that my test was negative and that I was fine, and that we were fine, and we started going back about life as normal. So, like I said, all of this comes to about, are you kidding me? Like, why wouldn't you share this with me? And I have to tell you, like right at all of those moments and even different times throughout, I have been so frustrated, so angry, and, I've had to really work on it. And there's this scripture that I want to share with you. And the scripture is Psalm 4:4. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Wow, what a word. Because I've really had to fight not sinning by letting anger control me. I have to tell you, honestly, man, I just wanted to pick that phone up and I wanted to just, okay, let's start off with first. When I found out on the big long text message, and I was like to them even, excuse me, why didn't you let me know? I mean, if she didn't let me know, why didn't you double check? They didn't know that she hadn't let me know, as well as they hadn't really realized I was the one coming to pick her up. They didn't know what her plans were. Okay, those things happen. So, and I didn't turn around after getting that message and drive back to her house and say, excuse me. Instead, I went, like I said, found a parking lot, and I napped. I guess first, obviously, I told you I called and talked to the other family. Once I got off the phone with them, I shut down and I napped in the car, making myself, I should probably tell you, after I got her out, I disinfected the car because, like, being an Uber Lyft driver, I have that stuff. And so I disinfected the car, rode with my windows rolled down, all that kind of jazz. Got to the parking lot, still had my windows cracked, and napped. But just so you know, I wasn't, like, incubating myself. Like, can you imagine? Like, here I am exposed, and I may not have gotten it, but I go ahead and incubate myself in the car to make sure I'm living with those germs so that I get it, whatever. Anyway, sorry, just that picture just cracked me up. But, so I stayed there and I slept. So, remember what the scripture said? Think about it overnight and remain silent. What good was it going to do if I got in her face? Honestly. What good would it do if I made her feel like this, yelling at her? It wouldn't. Throughout this whole time, I've not yelled at her. Throughout this whole time, I've held my peace. I've been cautious and careful with what I've said, and even sharing it with you guys. I am sharing an actual story. I am not sharing any names or any pertinent information because I feel like this is a lesson that can be learned from, and I feel like it's important, but I also feel like there's no reason for me to slander anyone. I feel that the important thing to do is to get the points across. Hopefully you kind of laughed at some of it. Hopefully, some of it you got a little bit righteous anger too with me, like, are you kidding me? But then at the same time, hopefully you thought to yourself, oh, dang, yeah. You know what? I'm kind of human. There's been times that's been kind of borderline, like, I should have told somebody something and I didn't. Because trust me, like, I can look at this, I can take myself out and drop myself on the side and look at it, and I can go, ooh, yeah, so see that area, like, I'm pointing to it, and it's like, I got 100% light on it, but it's like, yeah, sometimes I've been a little in those shadows myself, with not exactly being clear, not exactly sharing something. But then also sometimes I've been in the shadow myself of letting sin control my life in my anger, and have allowed that to cause some real intense friction between me and other people. Now, can I say that me and this family member are 100% good? No, honestly, I can't. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Come on. Like, you expect truth from me, and I'm giving you truth, okay? There's a lot of trust lost. A lot of trust lost on my side. I feel that I was taken advantage of, and I feel that it was very inconsiderate. It's also been brought to my attention that this other person doesn't understand. She has even spoke to me. She honestly thought, and again, this is where the misconceptions are out there. Media or whatever she has watched, listened to, read, whatever, has her convinced that she is perfectly fine because she's had 2 shots and a booster. Because she's had 2 shots and a booster, she can be exposed around people who are sick. Then she can turn around and get around people who aren't, and she's perfectly fine. And apparently she believes that that means everyone will be perfectly fine around her as well. Just a note, please remember, everyone that was invited to that Christmas event was vaccinated. Yes, not everyone who was there had their boosters. What? So we're saying that the boosters now make it 100%? I honestly have not seen any data on that. If you've got it, feel free. Shoot me an email. It's right there in the About section. So her concept of how safe she is now, that the rules no longer apply, that's something that's kind of hard. That frustrates me, because the thing is, I know she's not the only one. I know that there are a lot of people out there who think, hey, I'm good now, I can just go. And it doesn't matter if I'm blowing my nose. It doesn't matter if I'm coughing. It doesn't matter if I'm exposed to people who are sick. I'm perfectly fine, and I'm not going to make anybody else sick. It stopped, like the buck stopped here. Unfortunately, I don't believe that that is to be true. And I have not seen any evidence of anything that tells me that that is 100% true. So, y'all, I'm asking you to please use common sense. All right? If you're exposed to people, especially living in a house with them day to day, not just like walking past somebody in the grocery store that's coughing, okay? But if you're actually living in a home with people who are sick, coughing, sneezing, blowing their nose, throwing up, diarrhea, need I say more, okay? If they've got all of that going on, then please be really considerate with who you're around afterwards and what you do, and making sure that you're not out there sharing and exposing it. So I don't know. Is my anger all gone? I honestly do feel a little bit better. So thank you. Sometimes it helps just talking it out to friends. But also sometimes it helps remembering that if I let that anger stay and control me, it's just not healthy. I mean, it's sin, like it said in the scripture, but it's also not healthy. Anger causes toxins within your body. And so why should I hold on to anger and make myself sick? And holding on to that anger is only going to affect me. It's not going to affect anybody else. It doesn't mean like getting rid of it by taking anger and frustration out on somebody else. What it means is, how can you get rid of it? How can you settle it down? Journaling. Write out your feelings. I mean, if it's really bad stuff and you're feeling really frustrated and angry, you can take it, you can write it down on paper, and then you can crumble it up and you can throw it away and get rid of those feelings. If it's something you battle a lot, y'all, you already heard me right at the beginning, okay? I see a counselor. I fully think that that is 100%, not even just okay, but 100% awesome to help you to move ahead when you've had things occurring, things happening, stuff that you don't feel like you have a lot of control of. And I'm telling you, over the last couple of years, we've all felt a lot of that, I'm sure. So anyways, there it is. There's my word for today, my story, my, hey, keeping it real, being honest, all right? So I'm feeling great. Like I said, tested negative, got back out at things after everything was free and clear, and all is going well. And you know what? I don't know about your new year, but mine is going to be legendary. So thank you so much for joining me. I want you to leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Like I said, feel free to email me if you've got any other suggestions or anything you want to share. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Make sure you hit that little bell so you know when my next video drops. And I want to thank you again for joining me for Moments with Miss Amy.